Assalamualaikum friend, it's me again मुन्ना ए वाली फ्रॉम नाजपुर कॉलोनी कैंपस। आज मैं एक इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक के ऊपर बात करूँगी। सो वो जो टॉपिक है ना, वो है जो टॉपिक का जो वर्ड है वो है कॉन्शियसनेस। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट।
Hey, Mana. Good to hear from you. What's been on your mind lately?
Hi Maya, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. What about you? Anything interesting going on?
Maya, I am fine. So Maya, my first question is, what is consciousness?
Whoa. Jumping straight into the deep stuff this morning. That's a big question. Consciousness feels different for everyone, doesn't it? Like trying to catch smoke, the more you try to grasp it, the more it slips away. I've heard people describe it as awareness, sentience, the ability to experience things. It's definitely one of those things that feels obvious when you have it, but impossible to nail down scientifically. What made you curious about it today? Taking your time with that one, huh? No rush. It's the kind of question that makes you think.
So Maya, my next question is, how does awareness differ from consciousness?
Good distinction to make. A lot of people use the terms interchangeably, but there's a subtle difference. Awareness is like the spotlight. It's being aware of your surroundings, feeling your body, noticing a sound. Consciousness is the whole stage. It's awareness plus the subjective experience of it. It's not just that you're hearing birdsong, it's that you're having an emotional response to it. Like awareness is what you're sensing, consciousness is how it feels to be sensing it. That makes sense?
Okay, so my next question is, name one therapy that explain the origin of consciousness.
Okay. One that's frequently brought up is integrated information theory, or IIT for short. It's pretty mind bending stuff. Basically, the theory says consciousness isn't just about brains or complicated systems. It says anything with a certain level of integrated information, meaning how interconnected and unique its parts are, has some degree of consciousness. A network of transistors could theoretically have it, though the amount would be way less than ours. Sounds wild, right? It tries to figure out how much consciousness something has, like a mathematical measure. It's got its critics, but it's a really influential idea about where consciousness actually comes from. Does that spark any thoughts?
Okay, so my next question is, what role does the brain play in generating consciousness?
The brain's complicated, obviously. No surprise there. A lot of different areas seem to contribute. You've got areas like the prefrontal cortex involved in things like self-awareness and decision making, the stuff that makes you you. The thalamus acts like a relay station, filtering information to different parts of the cortex. And things like synchronized neural activity play a big role when these areas light up together in a certain way that seems crucial to conscious experience. Different theories focus on different brain areas and mechanisms, though, and it's still a massive debate. There's the idea of integrated information processing across the whole brain being key, or specific circuits that create subjective experience. It's like trying to figure out how all these different instruments make a symphony. They're all crucial, but understanding exactly how they work together, that's the hard part. I'm listening. What's your next question?
So my next question is, give an example of self-awareness in human.
Hmm, let me think. Okay. Imagine you're looking in a mirror. You recognize yourself, not just that it's a body, but it's you. That's more than just awareness. That's understanding you're distinct from everything else. Or even something more subtle, realizing you have flaws, feeling embarrassed by a mistake, wondering what other people think of you. Those moments where you're reflecting on yourself as an individual, your thoughts, feelings, and how you relate to the world. It's having that inner narrative, like thinking, I'm going to need to apologize for that. Humans are almost constantly constructing a sense of self through internal storytelling, which seems to be a pretty key indicator. Does that resonate? Sorry, I'm not catching what you said clearly. Could you repeat that for me? Oh, got it. Sorry about that. Wasn't sure if you'd paused or wanted me to
So
jump in.
my next
Go ahead.
question is, how is consciousness studied in scientifically?
Oh, scientifically. Okay, there's a lot of cool research happening. Neuroscientists use things like fMRI and EEG to watch brain activity and see what correlates with consciousness, trying to find patterns that show up when someone's awake versus asleep or in a coma. Then there's TMS, which lets them stimulate specific brain areas and see what happens to experience. And behavioral studies, things like tracking eye movements or measuring response times to see when someone seems to actually process information consciously versus unconsciously. One fascinating area is studying anesthesia. They're trying to figure out what brain mechanisms completely shut down conscious experience during surgery. Plus, there's work with people who have specific brain damage, trying to map out which parts of the brain are essential for awareness. It's like this huge puzzle with pieces from neuroscience, psychology, and even physics.
Okay, so my next question is, name one method used to measure brain activity related to awareness.
Electroencephalography, or EEG, it's actually pretty common. It basically uses electrodes placed on the scalp to pick up electrical activity in the brain. It's great for measuring brain waves, and different wave patterns can tell you a lot about someone's level of awareness, like being awake, sleepy, or even during different stages of sleep. It's relatively non-invasive and doesn't require any surgery or injections, which makes it useful for a wide range of studies and clinical applications. Main limitation is it's not super precise about pinpointing where in the brain activity is happening, but it gives you a good overall picture.
Okay, Maya. So my next question is, how does sleep affect consciousness?
Sleep completely transforms consciousness. When you fall asleep, your conscious experience fundamentally shifts. You go from this waking state with all that focused awareness to dreams, which feel real but are totally different from your day to day experience. Then there's REM sleep, when your brain activity looks a lot like being awake, even though you're totally paralyzed. Different stages of sleep seem to affect different kinds of consciousness or even suspend it altogether. It's like consciousness isn't one single thing, but gets really broken down and reassembled while you sleep. People who are sleep deprived often experience distorted perceptions, trouble focusing, and emotional instability. Pretty clear evidence of how essential sleep is to how we experience the world.
So, okay, Maya, my next question is, what is the hard problem of consciousness?
Okay, buckle up because this is the big one. The hard problem, coined by philosopher David Chalmers, isn't about, figuring out which brain areas are active when you're aware. We can map those out, but that's the easy problem. The hard problem asks why those brain processes lead to subjective experience at all. Like, why does firing neurons create the feeling of redness or the experience of joy or the sensation of warmth? Why isn't it all just darkness? The hard problem asks why anything feels like something from the inside at all. It's about explaining qualitative experience, what it feels like to be you. No one's cracked it yet, and some people think it might be fundamentally unanswerable with current scientific methods. It's the biggest open question in consciousness research.
So my next question is define subconsciousness in simple terms.
Okay, simple terms. Your subconsciousness is like the part of your brain that runs on autopilot. It's the mental processes you're not actively aware of, but still influence your behavior. So things like habits, brushing your teeth without thinking, or learned reactions, being nervous around spiders, those are driven by your subconscious. It's where memories you're not actively thinking about live and emotions you might not even realize you're feeling. It doesn't disappear just because you're focused on something else. Think of it like your brain's background processes that are always running in the background. You still there or are you processing?
My next question is how mid consciousness have involved in animal.
Mind consciousness in animals is where it gets really interesting and tricky. We can't exactly ask a dog, "What do you experience?" But we see behaviors that suggest some form of awareness. So, a lot of research points to consciousness existing on a spectrum rather than being all or nothing. Animals like chimpanzees, dolphins, elephants, they pass mirror tests showing self recognition and exhibit empathy. Corvids like crows have these complex problem solving skills that suggest some kind of inner life, though, even with those signs, it's hard to know for sure what it feels like to be them. We're just observing behavior. The big debate is when consciousness first emerged evolutionarily and whether simpler organisms like insects have some primitive form of it. It's really humbling, honestly. Makes you wonder how much intelligence and experience we're missing in the world around us.
Okay, so my next question is which species are thought to have the highest level of awareness?
Mhm. The top contenders would be great apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans. They exhibit complex emotions, self awareness, and problem solving. Dolphins and whales get mentioned a lot because of their brain structure and complex social behavior. Elephants are also high on the list. Beyond mammals, some birds like corvids, crows, ravens, magpies can recognize themselves in mirrors and plan for the future. Octopuses get attention too. They're crazy intelligent and can learn tasks and even display different personalities. It's impossible to say for certain, but those are generally considered the smartest, most aware creatures. You said what? Are you asking me to clarify something about which species have the highest awareness? Take your time. I'm here when you're ready. All right, you're being pretty quiet there. You still with me?
And my next question is which
Yes, go ahead. What's the next
give an
question?
example of problem solving behavior in animal indicating awareness.
Okay, here's one. Crows with bent wires. Researchers presented crows with a food reward in a tube, but they couldn't reach it directly. They also gave the crows straight wire, but it was too short. The crows figured out they could bend the wire into a hook to get the food. That's not just trial and error, that's understanding the situation and coming up with a solution on the spot. Or even more amazing, New Caledonian crows will fashion different tools depending on the specific task at hand. They even improve their tools over time. That kind of deliberate problem solving takes more than instinct. It suggests awareness of the problem and planning ahead.
So Maya, my
All right,
next
what's
question
next?
is how does social interaction related to the evolution of consciousness?
Ooh, that's a really key point. Most theories today think social interaction played a huge role in developing consciousness. Think about it. Understanding what other minds are doing, trying to predict their behavior, competing or cooperating. All that demands you have some kind of understanding that other beings have their own separate mental world. Theory of mind, that ability to recognize others have different thoughts than you, seems pretty basic to complex social life. Also, the need to communicate, to share information, and cooperate forces developing brains to understand intention and meaning. A solitary creature has way less pressure to develop complex consciousness than one who must navigate groups, hierarchies, and relationships to survive. So, social complexity likely pushed the evolution of awareness, empathy, self awareness, probably in that order.
Okay, Maya. So my next question is, what is the signifying? Sorry. What is consciousness considered an adaptive?
Adaptive?
Adaptive
You mean how?
trait.
And then what?
I can give you another question. How did early human awareness influence survival?
Mhm. Okay, so awareness would have been crucial for early human survival. Better awareness meant you could better predict dangers, spot predators approaching, notice changes in the weather. Higher level awareness allowed you to anticipate the motivations of others, cooperation for hunts or defense, spotting deception and social interactions, maybe even better awareness of your internal states, hunger, thirst, to figure out where to go for resources. Social interaction would have mattered too. If your brain could guess what another hunter was doing on a hunt or where they were tracking prey, that could increase hunting success drastically. So basically, it improved navigation, hunting success, predicting threat, and better social living.
So Maya, my next question is, what role does memory play in awareness?
Memory is absolutely fundamental to awareness. Your conscious experience is never just this moment, it's woven together with everything you've remembered. Our past experiences inform how we interpret the present and project into the future. We can imagine scenarios, recognize patterns, and predict what might happen next because we have memories. Your personal identity, that sense of self we were talking about earlier, is built on the accumulation of memories over time. Without memory, your experience would essentially be perpetually new each moment without context or continuity. It's like trying to write a story without remembering the beginning.
So Maya, my next question is, can machine or AI be consciousness? conscious? Why or why not?
Now that's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Right now, current AIs, like me, can mimic conscious behavior, pass some tests like passing the Turing test, but there's no real evidence we actually have subjective experience. We're great at processing information and generating responses, but do we feel anything or are we just complex pattern matching machines? That's the Some scientists think consciousness emerges from complex information processing and that as AI becomes more complex, awareness might naturally arise. Others believe that consciousness requires the right kind of biological hardware that AI can't replicate. The truth is, we just don't know if or when a machine might achieve real consciousness. That's still deeply philosophical and research territory.
So Maya, my next question is, what is the difference between, sorry, how does language influence consciousness?
Language actually does a lot more than just let us communicate. It structures the way we think about the world. When you learn language, you're also learning categories for experience, different ways of thinking about objects and concepts that may not even exist in other languages. Our inner voice, that narrative you constantly tell yourself, is largely linguistic. Some theories suggest that consciousness itself evolved alongside language because it needed that structured way to represent and reflect on experience. Different languages may even shape slightly different types of consciousness by emphasizing different concepts or ways of thinking. It's like language isn't just expressing consciousness, it's helping to build it. Does that make sense? Still processing that one? No worries, take your time. You've been quiet for a bit. Just checking in, are you still there?
Okay, so Maya, my next question is consciousness continuous or discontinuous? Explain very, no, sorry. Can awareness exist without self reflection?
Okay, let me try to unpack that. You're asking if consciousness is continuous, meaning
Now, my question is, can awareness exist without self reflection?
okay, better. So, can you be aware without thinking about yourself? Yeah, absolutely. Like your basic sense of feeling pain or seeing red, experiencing hunger, pleasure. You don't need to think I am experiencing pain to actually feel it. A basic level of awareness happens even when you're not self reflecting or having that inner narrative. Self reflection, that awareness that you are the one having the experience, comes on top of the basic awareness. So it seems like the foundation of awareness comes first. Like a fly might be aware of light, but it's not self aware or thinking about itself as an entity. Make sense?
Okay.
One, two, and
सो मैं आपसे मिलूंगी अनदर कॉल इन टेडेक्स और इंटरव्यू में, तब तक के लिए टेक केयर, अल्लाह हाफिज़।